Thank you so much, Muriel, and welcome everyone. Great to see so many familiar and unfamiliar faces here today. I encourage you all to enjoy the meeting that Vincent and April have so carefully planned for us, and it promises to be a great one. Just a quick reminder, the mission of Masters of Evaluation Club is to equip our members to give effective evaluations that enhance our speakers' impact on the world. We'll keep that in mind as we go through the day. I'm going to hand over, without further ado, to our Toastmaster of the day, Vincent Nere, and to take it away and give you the most time to enjoy this fantastic meeting that Vincent and April have planned for us. Over to you, Vincent.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Another Masters Evaluation meeting, special one. And we will have surprises for you because we'll be waving tails along this holiday season. We will give each and every one of you 27 people in the room the opportunity to have a quick spiel of about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes to start telling a tale. Then it continues on to the next person. It will be you who has been telling the tale, who points out who will be your successor. And now you think you will be done with that. No way. This is when the fun starts, because you will take note of the person who is your successor and will give this person feedback of their speech. Just 2 little items, what you liked and what you didn't like, full stop. So it doesn't take more than 30 to 40 seconds, maximum 1 minute. These are the rules. I would like to invite April onto the stage 2 minutes early. April, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Santa. Yay, team. We're all here to have a really fun time telling a holiday tale. Perhaps you remember hearing about progressive dinner parties. Well, think of us this morning in that vein. You know, and are familiar with likely table topics. Well, this is no table topics like you've ever heard before. Santa will begin telling a tale, our tale, and he will have 2 minutes. Muriel up in the top and Sandra up in the top left will be our signifiers as to when those 2 minutes are up. And even if you are in mid-sentence, you stop. And then appoint the person to follow you. And they will pick it up and start continuing the tale all along. Oh, ho, ho. Sandra, would you kindly show your cards to your audience so they'll know when they begin speaking with the first breath of speech, you'll give them what?
Ho, 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 go.
Sandra Savage, also known as Scrooge. Thank you, Sandra. And then what are you going to do when 2 minutes are up?
Bah humbug, stop.
Bah humbug, excellent. And Muriel, what are you doing when the 2 minutes are up?
I am ringing the bell.
Okay, well, Muriel, you could at least say jingle, 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 something like that.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
Okay, say it fast because we are on a time frame unlike no other. Who can do something with 2 minutes? All of us can. So we're going to go ahead first and start the tale with Santa, as I say. And we're going to continue along until we've all had a chance to weigh in. I'm betting that everybody is going to want in on this. And then we're going to take a 2 minute break and you're going to go, oh, thank goodness. Maybe go get your beverage and come on back and get ready for 1 minute evaluations. Now, in some circles, they say, we'll give you something, a compliment, and then also a little something to grow on. Vic says, no, we're going to tell you what's naughty and what's nice about what you had to say. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm anxious for you to get going. I'm anxious for us to get going. Any questions? Put it in the chat to me. I'll be watching. And with that, I'll turn it to you, Santa.
Ho, ho, ho. Can you see the future? Are you able to vision what will happen perhaps on the 5th of January? I can. On the 5th of January, the streets of Spain and of Latin America are packed with large carts drawn by tractors, and on top of these are 3 magic kings. The 3 kings, Melchor, Gaspar, y Baltasar. And every single town will be crowded with children, and these large platforms, perhaps similar to your 4th of July celebrations, travel through towns, may it snow, may it rain, and throw sweets to the children. And this is when Christmas starts in this country. And as I told you, with the foresight, I can see what will be on the news on the 6th of January, Epiphany. Every single news channel in Spain will broadcast on those visits from the 3 holy magic kings. And every child in this country, and even every adult, wishes to be there and will not miss it for any reason, because he will see the joy, the happiness on the faces of children and of their parents and their grandparents. Something not to be missed ever. And now I will point out the person who continues this tale. John White, would you mind stepping in?
Don't forget to jingle, Mariel.
I would love to. I was going to go to Los Angeles on the story, but I'll stay in Spain. I don't recall the kings. I'll call them A, B, and C. Excuse me, I'm from Los Angeles. I went to UC Santa Barbara. These kings had a very generous heart, and they loved giving. And for centuries they gave, and there was no problem whatsoever. But I don't know if you've noticed lately, there's a lot of complainers, a lot of litigious people. And on this day, King A came with a box full of candy because the children always loved them. They just loved every type of candy you might like. Unfortunately, many of these candies had peanuts in them. You know where I'm going with this. He threw them out, wished everyone a happy holiday. Jimmy, who was one of the more sensitive kids, he was a fun kid. He was allergic to the peanuts. And that befell him, and his parents were quite upset by this. King B, well, this is going to be a terrible turn of events. Let me see here. Jimmy was miraculously saved by King B. Forget about the litigious stuff. And King C gave away every present you would ever want. Please tell me my 2 minutes are up. I'm splundering here.
You can quit if you want. Are you
Out.
done?
I'm out.
Okay, jingle, jingle. And who are you appointing, John?
Who can clean up this mess? I'm taking. This is a job for Ray.
Ray.
Thanks, John. I take the baton and run with it. So these 3 kings, as John says, we've got A, B, and C. Now, what happened to them? Normally, the 3 kings turn up ready to deliver the presents for the children. But these 3 Spanish kings did what everybody traditionally does the night before and went on the lash. What's the lash? Well, they had a few cervezas too many. So these guys, the 3 of them, A, B, and C, they turned up drunk for work. A, he was in a state because the candy had peanuts in it. B, he was trying to save the day with his superhero chest. And C was just giving everything away. They were as drunk as Santa's sack. This was meant to be happening on the 6th, where all the children would wake up, Normally, the three kings, they arrive by helicopter here in Spain. I don't know if it's anywhere else in the world, but here in Spain, they arrive by helicopter to a helicopter pad. And as they get out, they throw sweets to all the children as they go through. But these three were so lashed up from the night before, they forgot the sweets and they were handing out cans of beer. The parents, they were aghast. They couldn't believe it. Instead of a magical Christmas, this was going to be a drunken Christmas that everybody wanted to forget. Kathy, would you mind telling everybody why they wanted to forget?
Give a jingle, Muriel, and Kathy, you're on.
The reason why everyone wanted to forget was because the kings were drunk, they were passing out beers, but of course, there was this one adolescent that was there that said, I'm going to save the day. So what did they do? They went to the store and they got candy. Of course, they got candy with their adolescent brain. And they decided, I'm going to make this all better for everyone. For the kings, I'm going to redeem them because they were drunk. They brought peanuts in the candy. They gave away, the other king gave away all of the gifts. They were throwing out beer. But what they got for candy, because they had eaten this candy before, and I don't know if y'all have this word in the countries that you're from, but here we have a thing called X-Lax. And it's chocolate, but it's a laxative. So this adolescent with their adolescent brain broke up the pieces of X-Lax and they got little bags, stuffed the little X-Lax pieces into the bags, and they started giving these little candies out to the kids. Not only did they give them to the kids, they gave them to the parents also. So everyone now had candies and they were all happy. Is my time up yet?
Jingle, jingle.
Thank you.
Appoint someone, Kathy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Daniel.
Well, I was really hoping I wouldn't have to follow up the X-Lax, but here we are. This is the point in the story where King A really has the chance to redeem himself. Because along with all of the peanut-infused candies that he brought to share with the children, which unfortunately led to, I think it was little Jimmy having an allergic reaction, which luckily King B was able to bail everyone out of that situation. King A he also brought a lot of foods that really firm everything up in there and counteract the effects of the X-Lax. So once he started to see where this grand Spanish holiday party was going, he decided to start handing out these new treats. And the effects were almost instantaneous. And after a little bit of a hiccup, everyone got back to doing their thing. The adolescent who purchased the X-Lax, they were given the chance to redeem themselves for the pain and suffering that they caused everyone. And the three kings, kings A, B, and C, decided to put it upon this adolescent mind to come up with a way to make it up to everyone. And I believe at this point, the lovely Harold G is going to tell us exactly how they made it up to everybody.
Thank you so much for that. They made it up like this. First of all, the kings said, everyone, those kids have been cleansed. That's right. This is a day of peace, love, and we must start with a new point of view. In order to get rid of this negativity, these kids had to be cleaned out. And the only way you can do it is the old-fashioned American X-Lax. It's chocolate. Dark chocolate is good for you. And we have a medication in there that will make you feel lighter, make you feel better, like a new young little boy, young little girl, a young man. You take that, you'll feel new. And the new year is for a new outlook. And you're going to get rid of what's old in the current year. Now, the three kings were former Toastmasters. They were great motivational speakers. They told the people, you have to get out and do something new. Yes, we have climate change. Yes, we have a lot of insanity in this country. Yes, we have people killing each other with machine guns because they get upset. But there's going to be a new day when you have taken that little pill. You've cleansed all that out. You feel better. You will act better. You will be better because this is a new year, a new day, and you will be better because we gave you some magic medication. That's right. It's magic. It don't not only clean out your body, it helps clean out your mind. And our minds need to be cleaned out, have a new start and a new day. I'm sure it's been a minute by now, but at any rate,
Jingle.
Okay. Judith.
I knew it. In the meantime, forget about the kings. The Jews dedicated their second temple that they just liberated from these horrible Greek and Syrians and kept them enslaved. But one of the great things happened as they took over the temple at 2 centuries BC. That was a jar of oil that was burning, and it was supposed to burn only one day, but it stayed on for 7. And the reason that we have 7 candles in this candle holder that we call the menorah is celebrating for those 7 days. Now, and there is 8 candles there, and the 8th candle called the shamar, and that's the candle that each candle will lit up every day of the 7 days. It's very important in Hanukkah that you never blow out the candle. You always let it burn completely. And that is the word of Hanukkah, means dedication. And then one thing happens during Hanukkah is the dreidel. Children have lots of fun. They spin the dreidel, and whatever Hebrew letter it ends up with they choose, they get chocolate. And there is one more thing happens in Hanukkah, is jelly donuts. That's the one that with all the other food, that's part of a Hanukkah celebration.
Jingle,
Thank you.
jingle, jingle.
Judith, appoint someone, please.
Muriel.
Our elf. Go, Muriel.
Okay. And so, in addition to what our Judith was saying about Hanukkah, we also know that one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa is unity. And we know that during this time of season celebration, Unity is so important. Unity is called umoja during the Kwanzaa celebration in the African American community. And so we look to know that not only are we unifying everyone on this planet, but we're also finding a way to be unified in the way we address everyone on this planet. And so we are just grateful and thankful for this time of year that serves as a reminder that there's only one place and one person and one mind, and that there's only one spirit that we all came from. And so it is such a great way of celebrating Kwanzaa with the seven principles of unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, Kaumba, Nia, and Imani, which means faith. So I have faith that we all can be unified during this season celebration, but not only during this season celebration, why don't we carry this into the new year and to every year of our life? Because this is a great concept, umoja, unity. And so grateful that I can say jingle, jingle, jingle and pass this on to James Scott Oliver.
Meanwhile, back at the Spanish city where all the X-lax is dripping down through the city sewers, Gaspar, Melchior, and Baltazar had some splaining to do. You see, Gaspar, the peanut dropper, we'll call him from now on, he's elf number one or king number one, deeply embarrassed. So Gaspar went to the port, jumped on the first boat he could get on, and off he sailed to the lovely island of Kauai. It was a long ride, but he got away. Meanwhile, the savior, Melchior, king number two, well, he finally had to reveal that he was the manufacturer of EpiPens. Yes, off he went, across town, caught an airplane to the States, and joined Big Pharma, where he could make thousands and thousands of dollars on each EpiPen that he would sell. And last but not least, the embarrassment that hung over Baltazar, his nephew, who had the unfortunate name of Sammy Softbottom, which is why he dumped the X-lax on everybody that he could, because people laughed at him all the time, and he wanted a good laugh too. Ho, 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 jingle, jingle, jingle. Vicky Trabash, give us a single.
Let's go back to the bar again with Ray. Now, when I was young, I had a catch and release program going with Kings. I met all three of them in the bar. The thing about Kings in bars is that they lie. And just like men lie when they want something, these three Kings, no offense, men, I'm just speaking from a single woman's perspective. This happened a long time ago when my jingly hair was a little more blonde. These Kings told me that they had done nothing wrong. So what I did was challenge them to a game of darts. There's always a great dart board in any bar or pub. And this was the deal. If I won darts, then they would have to cut off their beards. They all had beards. Now, these beards were precious to them. But as often happens, they underestimated me. And they believed all three of them could beat me in darts. Well, as you can guess, when I'm not working or going to school, I learned to play darts. Now, depending on the bar, sometimes it would be a man with a tie, a really nice tie. And if he wanted to challenge me to a game of darts, I would have him cut off his tie, which I have seen more than one tie go to pieces in a bar. But these three Kings, they all had the beards, which made them look noble and important. But of course, we knew better. So what I did was start to play darts with them. And guess who's a ringer in darts? You bet, Vicky Snowball Trabash. Not only did I beat them so bad, they thought I owed them money, or they owed me money. So after a very rigorous game of darts, when the entire pub was standing there watching us, and let us not forget, to play someone who is a bit drunk is an easy win. They were very drunk. I was very sober. And within an hour, it took, you play rounds. All three had lost. The scissors were brought out, their beards were cut off, and they all went into rehab. And with that, I would like to nominate a guest. And the person I will nominate is Colin.
Colin, you're muted.
Yes, this is an easy follow-up. I think we need to add something. We've been all over the world and celebrating all sorts of holidays, but there is a holiday that brings us all together, and it happens a little bit after. It all revolves around Sandra Savage's ability to cook. She's an executive chef, and she can cook food for everybody. But her skills all started when she, of Scandinavian origin, fell in love with somebody who was going to mentor her. This person was a Swedish chef. And she met him, and her eyes captivated his big blue eyes. And he said the words that would change her life forever. In the most romantic way, he said, "Ye borgden de Hermgeni, bork, bork, bork." And that was the moment when she decided that all these big festivals, whether it's Kwanzaa, whether it's Hanukkah, whether it's Christmas, or the 5th day of January, or just celebrating getting over Xlac, can all be fixed with food. Yes. So this is a key to get everything better. All we have to do is share food, get Sandra to make it. She's a capitalist. She's a Scrooge person. She wants the money. Show her the money, and you will get the food. And this world will be so much better a place. It's hard to comprehend. Eunice, take over.
Wow. And after they ate all that food, they started immediately, because this was superfood, had super things like a lot of sugar in it, a lot of preservatives in it. They immediately started to explode and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they started to rise. And then once they rose to the air, they were able to pull Santa's slide because they were floating. And they went from house to house to house, delivering gifts. And then as they withered down, as the weight and stuff from the wind and stuff blowing them around through the snow, through the rain, it just got their systems going, and it was like a form of exercise for them. And they started to lose the weight. And by the time they delivered all of their gifts and everything else, they were back on Earth, safe and sound. Jingle, jingle.
Thank you.
And Palma, Alejandro.
Thank you. Well, after all the effort for redeem themselves, they look all the mess and they decide to run away. Took the first flight to South America, to a place with more sun. But they didn't find a direct flight, so they took the first flight to Mexico and landed there. And the first thing they do is to go to a bar again. Can you believe it? To drink tequila. And the mess started all over again. Now I'm going to nominate to Scott.
He's already been chosen.
Okay, Dave.
And in the packages that were delivered to everyone, there were the magical jam donuts. And the jam donuts, one of the things you probably haven't heard about jam donuts is that that it enables animals. So if animals eat the jam donuts, they grow legs and turn a bit human-like. And so the rats and the reindeers, they all rose up out of the sewers and started wearing holiday outfits. And the reindeers picked up the snowmen and started running around. And of course, this wasn't just in Mexico, where there probably isn't snowmen, but also in Sweden, where the chef Sandra Savage hails from originally. And of course, the magic ingredient that was in Sandra's dish was a little bit of reindeer. And so when all the creatures were running around out of the sewers, jingle, jingle.
Okay.
Jack.
Jack?
I'm here.
Okay.
And I'm with the three kings. They are still a little tipsy, and they decided to fly again. This time, they all three came to the United States, and they didn't know where they were. They landed somewhere in the desert, and they looked up at the sky, and they saw this bright light, a shooting star, and it landed in the desert. Aliens! It was Area 51. Who knew that that's where they would wind up? Oh my gosh. They ran away and went to Reno. And guess who they saw? Gene Barry. Who else would they see? He was going to save everyone. Well, maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was the divine spirit that caused the littlest creatures, the bacteria, to kill the invaders. And that's why we're always here having a good time, enjoying ourselves. Humanity is so important. We love everyone. And the three kings realized that. And they, on that day, had everyone put down their weapons of war. It was a miracle. Not one person was killed on that day. Who would believe that? Oh my gosh, maybe that day could be carried on to the next day and the next day. And
jingle, jingle, jingle.
So, Kim, how about continuing the story?
Okay, so these weapons of war in Reno was something that the kings were not accustomed to, because remember, they were from Spain. And in Spain, no one has a weapon because people don't just walk around in Spain with guns. It's illegal for you to have a weapon in Spain. And because it's illegal to have a weapon in Spain, you can be free to go out at night. So the three kings and the whole country, they just take this siesta in the middle of the day. And then about 7 p.m., the whole country just comes alive. And then the restaurants open back up and they serve those good candies that don't have peanuts in it and they don't have X-Lax in them. And then you could get a little piglet on a plate for Christmas, or you could get something amazing, a little tequila, because, you know, Mexico originated from the Spaniards in Spain. So the kings didn't have any problem going over to Mexico drinking that good tequila and being free to just be able to walk around with no guns, no weapons, just fun. And then one little secret about the King Balthazar. Well, King Balthazar, his real name was Betty because it was a queen. She had to hide her identity because, you know, that whole equality thing. But Balthazar was the Queen Betty, and she made everything all right for the moment. Jingle, jingle.
Okay. Pick
Go ahead and point your next person, Tim.
Barbara.
Oh, I am so glad that in Spain there is freedom, that you can walk around, that there are no weapons. I am so glad for that. So glad that there is no laxatives and candy with peanuts in it. Oh, and hopefully there is no alcohol that they could get drunk. Okay, and challenge me to a game that Vicky played as darts. So, jingle, jingle. Next up.
Who's up?
Pick someone.
Maybe Brad? Can Brad come through?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, what a story. The kings were watching all of these scenes. They were there everywhere, whether they're in Reno or Spain or in a bar drinking tequila. And they had enough. Melchior and Gaspar and Betty, they had enough of this. It was messy, too much food. They heard there was reindeer in the food, jelly donuts, jam donuts, all kinds of stuff. And all of that was definitely creating a mess. So they made a rule in their kingdoms, and they went into their kingdom funds and pulled out a lot of money and bought for everyone in the kingdom bidet toilet seats, because it was a mess. They wanted everyone to clean up the front and the back and spray everything and get rid of this mess once and for all. It was a big undertaking, but they covered all the delivery and installation expenses, and they even provided a training team to go out and teach everyone how to use the buttons that spray the front or the back or pulsate or blow dry. They wanted to clean up this kingdom, and because they had had enough. So these custom toilet seat covers were sent to the entire kingdom, and everyone was happy. Everyone was clean. Everyone smelled fresh. And now they were ready to celebrate. And the rest of the story comes from Trudy.
Wow, this is a story, a wonderful one too, and a difficult one. However, the Boudet didn't, from the kings that went and get all the money to cover up the mess that took place all over the world with their the jelly donuts and their liquor from tequila from Mexico and the drunken spiel in the bars did not work up north. Because when they came up north, everything froze up. So they really couldn't cover up everything. The showcase was there for everyone to see. The only thing is, it was hard for the world to get here to see it. So in the end, they had to get shovels to try to cover it up. But with the shovels, they couldn't cover the buttocks and the front parts and the back parts of everyone. So sweets and everything was there as a big showcase to celebrate the eyes, but not for taking. Back to you.
Judy, pick someone.
I can't see the names.
Trudy, if I may, this is April.
Hi, April.
I'd
You'll
like
pick it.
to go next, and I'm going to make an amendment since we're so far into our time. Sandra, Muriel, the next contestant is going to have 1 minute, and the others beyond are going to have 1 minute. Let's get these guests going with our tale. And I'm going on you, John Graham. 1 minute.
Thank you, April. Well, you know, now everybody was all pooped out. And they were sobered up. And they're dreidled out. And they had that wonderful, unified, Swedish superfood in their bodies. So then what could the three kings do to make the rest of the holiday wonderful? They released giving bugs. And those giving bugs went throughout the world, giving people things. And they were delightful. And the process of being delightful comes from within. So everyone became happy, delightful, and revived for the rest of the holiday season. Thank you. Now you're choosing somebody else, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
You are.
I am?
Yes.
Oh, I'm choosing somebody else.
Yes.
Did Pat go?
Not yet.
Okay, Pat.
See, the difficulty that the three kings had is that they had been to Ireland before they'd gone to Spain. And they had done the 12 pubs at Christmas, which is a tradition that we do here. So you start with one pub and you keep going and you've done 12 pubs. It's the whole idea of the 12 days of Christmas, except you do it on one day. And they had understood what inebriation means to the extent that they had really enjoyed this whole alcohol idea, particularly the Guinness, because the Guinness in Ireland is just unlike any Guinness that you get anywhere else in the world. It doesn't travel. It doesn't really travel much at all. So Guinness was what they found, and they absolutely loved it. And when they went to Spain, the food didn't agree with them, and that's what happened. And that's why they had all of this trail of destruction from their rear ends the rest of the way through the world. And when they got to Mexico, unfortunately, that worm in the tequila turned them off, because you don't get worms in the Guinness in Ireland. Actually, you don't get worms from anything in Ireland. So that's why the three kings were in such difficulty.
Jingle, 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 Pat. Pick somebody else, Pat.
I'm not sure who's been. So, April, will you choose me, please?
Yes, I'll be happy to. Thank you. I want to have Jan next.
Wow, these kings, they have been in a wild ride. They passed by the Burning Man Festival in America. They have been the Teotihuacan, the pyramids in Mexico. They have been running with the bulls in Pamplona. And now they even have been celebrating the Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and having dinner with a special chef from Sweden. But remember, Balthasar, Melchior, and Gaspar, they are following the star. And the star is leading them towards their goal. Like we have our goals here in Toastmasters. These men, they also had a goal, an objective, and a mission. And Juan Pablo Poblete will tell us about the mission these guys have.
Well, these three kings have a mission. Their mission is to deliver gifts
You have
to
to stop.
all.
One, pick someone. You can pick someone. Shantae is available.
Muriel, Juan Pablo was talking. He nominated Juan Pablo.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, I missed
Okay,
that.
I was saying that these three kings have a mission. Their mission in life is to make every child in South America happy with their gifts, and they're giving them gifts like bicycles, PlayStations, guitars, and books, so they enjoy their time here. They here we have summer in Christmas, so we go to beach and have fun there with tequila, but not for kids, but because kids are so little to drink tequila. And there's another things we do here in South America. And the person who's gonna tell what else we do here is uh, Jack Kaminsky.
Jack's already talked. Juan, pick somebody else, like maybe
Oh,
Mary Pryor.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Mary, are you there?
Mary?
Shantae, step up, darling. Shantae.
Thank you for that great story, Juan Pablo. Hi, this is Shantae. I am your broadcaster for today, broadcasting live from my kitchen. And let me tell you here that we have a great story in line for you today, because the three kings that have been running amok across Europe and the Americas have been apprehended. Yes, that is right, you guys. We have them in custody right now because they have been running around, faking people, giving them gifts, just so that they can rob their homes and give them candy. And it has been quite an explosive holiday. What is that, Vicky? Oh, yes, that's right. From now on, we will be referring to the holidays as Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, so that we are inclusive of everybody. Thank you so much. Back to you, April.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And King, I see you tonight. Go ahead. You need to unmute, though. Okay, Sharon Giles, bring us around home, honey. What you got?
Well, I've heard a lot of stories, and we've carried those three kings throughout this world. We've put them on airplanes, helicopters, everything but a motorcycle. We've brought them from Spain to Los Angeles. We've taken them to Nevada to gamble. We've even set them on a boat day. However, there was someone who complained. They wanted to know what type of water was being flushed up their butt. Was this water purified? Had it been clean? Or was it from the Mississippi River, which is muddy water? Fellow Toastmasters, guess, where did this water come from? Those three kings never got a name. A was called Always. Brother B was B. And brother or King C was Careful. So it was always be careful when you saw these three kings, because you knew trouble was ahead. Trouble was ahead. We always want to name the ladies, but we never want to name the king. These kings are trouble. And X-Lax, we all need a cleansing. We're getting to the end of the year. There's a lot that we need to leave on this side. Do not take it to the next side.
Jingle, jingle. Yeah. And friends, this is April. I am your general evaluator, and I see it is now 9:53, and we have at least two, if not three, individuals who've not yet spoken. So what I'm going to do is ask them to support me as general evaluator in evaluating how this tale has gone down. So first, I'm going to remark that we all need to be sure we've been very careful to listen and hark. Listen carefully. What's that? We three queens of Orient are. Yes, the three queens are in Asia, and they've gotten word about what's been going down at Vincent's house in the south of Spain. Started everything, didn't you, Santa? Started everything. You do that so often. We three queens, they say. Gaspar had Gloria, Melkron had Muriel, and Balzar had Betty. But they didn't care who was partnered with who, because this is a whole global world and we are all in this together, making the best we possibly can out of our holidays, out of our cheer. Now then, I would ask the guests to raise an arm with your reactions so I can see who wants to be first up here, close to Muriel and Sandra, at giving evaluation as to how we have done today with our holiday tale. Who will be first, please? Don't be shy. I might have to sing some more. That wouldn't be too good.
I see Pat's hand, April.
Okay, Pat.
Well, I joined the tale a little bit late, and what I really liked about it was how the tale wove previous references into the current ones and then changed it and moved it a little bit along. But at the same time, keeping the core of the three kings very much to the front. So the kings had done a lot. They had released bugs. They had been around the world. They had one of them, I think, was actually a queen, but maybe he wasn't, maybe she wasn't, maybe it wasn't. But the tale was beautifully told. Everybody stood up and brought their own particular country or their own particular view of the holidays to it. And in that regard, it was a whole rather than disparate parts. So well done, everybody. Fantastic tale. Great idea.
Thank you so much for chiming in that way. Who also cares to chime in with this assistance to your general evaluator? All right, we've had quite the drama today. I had no idea, nor did you, as to which direction it was going. But things did get pretty well cleaned up, I must say. That was kind of charming, the bidet part. Thank you, Brad. And I heard you giggle, even though many of you are muted. I could see your mouths were crinkling up. Some of you were in tears a couple of times. I don't blame you a bit. I want to thank all of you for coming today, and I'm going to turn it over to our beloved Santa Claus, Vincent.
We still have a part to play, which is the evaluations, ladies and gentlemen. I will start giving my evaluation of the person I named, John. My feedback is, John, don't start with "excuse me." Just jump into the story. And what I liked was that there was a call to action: be careful of candies based on peanut butter. John, I think your turn is now to evaluate Ray. Is that right?
I will evaluate Ray. I am forever indebted. It was a terrible start, and without his intervention, it might have taken a scatological turn that no bidet could have cleaned. Well done, Ray. I'm from America, so his speech always tickles my ear. They went on a lash too many services. I assume that means they got blanked up. But anyway, it was wonderful. And he talked about the ABC King, taking my theme of not knowing Beltar and Cindy and whoever. My only criticism is they were lashed on beer. Pat, not even Guinness, just regular beer, not a hot toddy, not tequila shooters. It was almost anticlimactic. I mean, we might as well have had moonshine.
Jingle, jingle, Don.
Ray, your turn. Is Ray still in the house? I don't see him.
Thanks, John. Yeah, did Kathy
Ray.
did Kathy run away with the Christmas baton, or did she stumble on her ABCs? Well, we think she sprinted. She gave us two great segues to the storyline, which turned the story on its head. First, she got us going regularly with the X-Glax chocolate story. And then secondly, she brought in the adolescent brain and the teenage shenanigans. She then joyfully passed the Christmas baton on to the next elf. Ho, 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 and well done, Kathy. Over to you.
Thank you. And I passed it on to Daniel. And Daniel, as crazy as my story was, I was expecting you to go along with the crazy, but you came very nice and calm and metered. I actually would have liked to have seen the crazy continue because we were in a tall tale. And I'm passing it on to you, Daniel.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. I evaluated our friend Harold. I really liked, Harold, how you got started right away, didn't waste a second, and brought us all into the story. You turned arguable negatives from the tale that we had created into positives, and you did a lot of good for the characters that we imagined, and you just sent us in a new direction and gave us a fresh start. And I thought that you did that it was very smooth and very graceful. And I'll pass it on to you now.
This is Harold. Thank you for the evaluation. I passed it on to Judith. And Judith gave us a wonderful history lesson that dealt with Judaism. And it was quite interesting. And she has lights behind her. I enjoyed her delivery. I thought she could have made it, because she's very creative, more comedic, but it was a very interesting presentation on the history of Hanukkah way. And I will pass it on to Judith.
Thank you, Harold. I thought that I may be the only person who will speak of Hanukkah, so I thought that's what I did. Oh, Muriel. It was really very interesting that you said about Kwanzaa, about unity. I think there was self-determination. It's one of the interesting things that Hanukkah does have a little bit of connection to Kwanzaa, not on the religious thing, but on the lights, on the candle lights. And there's one other thing I want to share with you all, that Kwanzaa was created in Los Angeles, of all places, in 1966. So we could have used just a little bit of history of Kwanzaa. Thank you. And who was after me? I can't remember. Oh yeah, that's Muriel, I guess, right? Yes. Okay, sorry. How this works.
Yes, and I evaluated James Scott Oliver. Is that correct, James Scott Oliver?
Right, Muriel?
Excuse me?
Correct.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, James Scott Oliver, I believe he pivoted back to the story about the three kings. And what I would have liked would have been a new way of having this holiday tale go. And so I loved what you said, Scott. However, the only thing that I have as the opportunity for improvement would be to just take us into another direction. And so I passed to James Scott Oliver.
Thank you for your evaluation. And frankly, where I failed, Vicky picked up the ball and ran with it. Taking us to the dark corners of her youth, Vicky was sharp and clear and full of clarity, standing alone with three bearded men in Cincinnati in a dark bar. It was amazing. I love that piece. If I could have asked for anything that would have improved it, perhaps I'd like to have known what you did with the beards. I mean, did you wrap them up and hang them as pelts off your belt? I really wanted to know where the beards went. But other than that, I loved it. Vic, it's up to you.
Scott, if I hung all the belts on my skirt, I'd have a furry skirt. So I can't do that. I had the pleasure of evaluating Colin. Colin, you are a masterful storyteller. And your story of Sandra was wonderful because you brought in the person that brought you to our meeting, which we really appreciate. Sandra, as the Grinch, doesn't get to say much, but you really highlighted and showcased her. And who knew she married a Swede? A little more knowledge, that's always good. And I have a couple things to say, but 3 things to say. Bork, bork, bork. Seriously, that was good. The one area where I'd love you to improve, near the end, you were giving so many compliments to Sandra. Pause between each one. Let us take it in. And more importantly, let Sandra take it in. Great job, Colin. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Hardy. Anyway, my job was to evaluate Eunice, and the first thing that jumped to mind is a quote from Thomas Edison. He who leaves to his children the gift of enthusiasm has left behind an estate of incalculable value. You notice how her enthusiasm caught you immediately. You were immediately drawn, and people are naturally attracted to an enthusiastic person. And the thing that backed it up is gestures. She let her body speak. With even without the words, you were caught into the motion. So, and also she incorporated my rather bizarre little stories about the Swedish chef and Sandra and all that stuff. So she is very much aware of everything, and I will pass it to the next person. I'm sorry, I'm not who that is.
Eunice.
That's Eunice, I guess.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Colin. And I evaluated the amazing Alejandra Palmer. I think I got the first name right this time. I had to look at it. And I love the way she took the Kings all the way into South America. And once they were, so these Kings were all over the place. And what drew me to her is I just loved her presence, the way her background was as she was sitting there, and the smile that was on her face as she told the story. And then once they got into South America, what did they do? They started drinking some tequila. So I enjoyed listening to what you had to say. I enjoyed the presence. Keep on saying what you're saying and doing what you're doing. Thank you.
We go to Alejandra and Dave.
Yes. Dave, I love the plush animals dressed with Christmas costumes. You also use visual material to support your speech. Maybe the story was a little short, but it happened to me too. So that is a point for me to improve. Thank you.
Pass it on.
Thank you, Alejandra. Thank you. So I'm going to evaluate Jack. Jack, I loved how you took the story back up. You brought back in the three kings. Your story was like sentence to sentence. It seemed like it evolved and came to life. You traveled to North America. You went to Reno. You had Area 51, aliens, bugs, all sorts of things thrown in there. But somehow you managed to bring all that together with a lovely, powerful message for us all about peace and unity to the world. So I really love that, Jack. The only thing that I was disappointed in your speech, you didn't bring back in the animals. Over to you, Jack.
Jack.
Unmute, Jack. Jack, wait. Good.
Yes, thank you, Dave. That was great evaluation of me. I loved it. I love the animals too. And I am evaluating Kim. What happened was that I was so glad to have given the speech and have it over with that I was just crazed when Kim was speaking. The one thing that I really liked about Kim's speech was that King Balthazar became King Betty or Queen Betty. And you brought this in and it was just great. I wasn't expecting it and it just floored me. The other thing I want to say is that if Toastmasters International ever has a tall tales story, we would win hands down. So I think that we could all appreciate what everyone has done. And thank you, Kim. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Much appreciated. And Barbara, I love that you came right in with enthusiasm and you said, I am so happy which made us all give you our attention. You had great listening skills. You replayed back what I said. You stated it with excitement. You took control of your virtual lectern. I would have liked if you would have put a new twist on the story before you handed it off.
Yeah.
And Brad is next then, by Barbara.
Yes, I passed it on to Brad. I like how you came in, Brad, with that story about what happens when we take laxatives. I hadn't heard it throughout, but we do know that there are some results when we do take laxatives. So I like how you came in with that. You were very clear. Your vocal variety was really great. I appreciate that. I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more gestures regarding the cleanup of the poop. I'll pass it on.
Brad, what have you got to
Thank
say?
you. Thank you, Barbara, for that. And I get to evaluate Trudy. Trudy, I love how you came in and responded. I appreciated your calm approach and how you took charge by summoning shovels and making sure that everything was covered up. But I appreciate how you continued the story. I love how you brought even more intrigue beyond my bidet mention when you mentioned buttocks. I thought you really raised the stakes with that. My feedback is a pause, a little slower dissemination of your words to get your message across. Other than that, thank you for continuing the story. And over to John Graham. Evaluating Pat, I think.
Correct. John, what you got to say?
Well, let's see. Pat did really well bringing us, I guess, from Alaska or the North Pole back into Europe, into Ireland. And he tied in a couple of different themes. You know, he tied in Mexico, Ireland, and alcohol, things all together. So his new addition there, of course, was the elimination of the worm. And how did he eliminate the worm? Well, of course, we had Guinness. And then, of course, he brought us all the way around back to Ireland and Guinness. The only thing I would suggest that you do is give us a little bit more graphic representation of how the Guinness was. Was it warm? Was it cold? How did it taste? Thank you. That's all. Thank you, Pat.
Well done.
Thank you, John. The Guinness tastes the same all the time, John. It's always cold and it's always white on top. Jan, thank you for continuing the story, taking it off on a slightly different angle, but for that warm enthusiasm and that great big smile that you bring to all of this, and for participating in the story and keeping it going. Really nice job, Jan. Thank you. Now, who's next after Jan?
Jan.
Thank you, Pat, for your words. And I have to evaluate Juan Pablo Pobletti, my colleague from Mining for Words. And Juan Pablo, congratulations for picking that quickly the idea of the mission from the kings, that originally the mission were to bring gold, incense, and myrrh to the baby Jesus. So these are gifts. And you made a subtle remembrance of that with the kings bringing gifts to the kids of South America. Now, one thing to improve, we are here in international audience with members from all over the world. So it is nice always to make it as broad as possible. Let's say with bring gifts to the kids, to poor kids of the world or something like that, because people are from South America, but also from America, Europe, and everywhere else in the world. Now back to you, Juan Pablo.
Thank you. Well, I have to evaluate who's her, what's her name?
Shantae.
Shantae. Okay, Shantae, you have so much energy. I give you the microphone, and you were like in a TV show or something like that. You were like a radio host. You have so much passion in transmitting your message. It was really an honor listening to you because you have so much energy. Even in a Friday when all of us are a real tired because of our work, but you have so much energy. So congratulations on that to you. Back to you, Shannon.
Thank you. Thank you for that great evaluation, Juan Pablo. Hello, everybody. And hello, Sharon. I was so excited when you got to pick up the story from where we left off. I was equally as excited because I wasn't sure if the message was coming from you or your fun friend there in the video, but I was just happy to see it. I thought it was great that you were able to kind of take the story and kind of go back to where we were kind of midway and talk about the bidet and talk about, you know, the three kings. The only thing that I will say is that they were named somewhere partway through. They were Gazabar, Melazar, and Baltazar. I'm saying that all wrong. So you gave them new names, which is fine, but I would have loved to also see you pick up the story because I put them in jail and then you took them out of jail. But I turn it back to you, Sharon.
Sharon, before you go, I forgot to be clear, and I want Trudy to make her comment, please, following Brad.
Brad, you were a great surprise because you brought up a very innovative way to clean up the mess. Put it that way. Instead of telling all the tales about the beautiful gifts and the drunkenness and the tequila and everywhere, you thought you will clean up the mess and everybody will be happy and be really graceful about getting ready to celebrate. You came up with a bidet, and I thought that was a great, great innovative part in the story, in the overall story, and a surprise too. However, you use buttons to clean up. You didn't explain where you would press the buttons because the buttons are many parts when you're looking at the bidet if you know how to use them. But your story was really well taken and I really enjoyed it and I hope everybody enjoyed it. What to improve? I wouldn't say anything specifically. I really enjoyed the telltale with you ending with the bidet. And me picking it up and tell you the bidet doesn't always work.
Jingle, Trudy.
Thank you.
Thank you much. Sharon, did you finish up your commentary?
I am.
Sharon didn't have anybody follow her, so she doesn't want to evaluate.
I followed her.
But you sounded more like a general evaluation. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So am I evaluating everyone or?
Any way you want to roll it.
Listening to all of the stories and hearing all the tales from all over the world, one thing I'd like to bring out, the X-lax and the lack of toilet paper. You know you are still hoarding that toilet paper from 2020. Pull it out of the closet. It is now turning yellow and crinkly. It will not be flushed in the bidet, or however you pronounce that French word. Get you a good soft cleansing cloth and wipe your own you-know-what, because the year is coming and we all need to enter 2023 clean and refreshed. This has been an awesome production. Whoever put it together, kudos to you. Thank you, Madam Ms. April Claus.
I would like to ask Scrooge if she would like to have a few remarks. Sandra?
Well, this has been interesting and distracting as a timer. Bah humbug, all of you. But I love the festivity, the friendship, the camaraderie. And to me, that's a great way to bring in the season. And with all the stories that we've told tonight, I think what we've heard mostly is how well we all enjoy a good time and good friends. So happy holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Scrooge. Wasn't terribly Scroogey. I'd like to ask King Jatel Martin, are you here and want to comment? You're on mute.
I'm here. I missed out what was happening, so I really didn't have a comment because I didn't get a chance to see everyone go or catch the theme of what was going on.
We'll catch you another time. Thanks. I would like to read something in our To Everyone by Ray. This really challenges us all. As the standard gets higher, we can all vocally twist and turn on a sixpence. Yes. Yes, indeed. Is there anyone else with a last comment before I turn it to Santa and Santa turns it to Dave?
Yep, Meryl, I apologize to you. I wanted to do that publicly because I was supposed to show up yesterday, but I was busy. So I'm sorry. And I publicly wanted to be able to tell you that I'm sorry in public because we got to be on our mistakes. So I love you. I still owe you a speech and I'll make that happen for you.
I love you too.
RL forgives everybody.
I would like to say a few words, if I may. It's a wonderful pleasure for me to come back to this club and see that it's thriving. It has energy. It has a beautiful heart and a beautiful message of camaraderie. And congratulations to all of you, because this is a direct reflection of what you have, all of you have in your heart. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Pleasure. Juan Pablo, you have a comment.
Yes, I just want to say thank you for having me here. It's my first Toastmaster session in English. I'm from the Chilean club. Victoria was with us last week, and I want to come here. This is an excellent group from all over the world, and just want to say that. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. I just want to say it's now 10:22. We've only had one person leave our meeting. That is remarkable, I believe. Santa, you take it, baby.
Thank you so very much. What a wonderful show she has prepared. And she came up with the idea as well. So a massive applause to our General Evaluator, April. Before I turn over to our President, David, who will interview our guests, I would like to thank you for being here tonight or this morning. I'm happy to share the winter in Spain with the summer in Chile. I envy Jan with his open shirt. And we've done something brilliant today. Every one of us has used their evaluation skills. And this is what we're doing at Masters of Evaluation. My commendation to you, all of you, is join our club. It's only $22 for you to go until the end of March. Try it out. Become a member. Play around with it. I think you will not regret your gift to yourself of $23. And just to answer Jack, indeed, we will have a tall tale competition coming up in spring. So being part of members of evaluation, you could participate and compete in District 1. Isn't that a challenge? David, the stage is yours.
All right.
Thank you so much, Santa. And thank you also, Mrs. Claus, and to the elves and Vicky Snowball Trabosh, I think it was. Was it Snowball? Snowy? And to the Grinch and the Chief Elf. Thank you to everyone who put so much effort into coordinating and producing this fantastic meeting. I loved every minute of it, and I love sharing it with you all. Before we